My wife told me Lily wasn't really mine. It happened before you, so it doesn't count as cheating. I left my wedding ring that night. Days later, at her grandmother's burial, the biological father showed up, and everything I knew about my family fell apart. My wife, Emily, always told me she had a complicated past, but I never pushed for details. I loved her. I trusted her. And when Lily was born, small, bright-eyed, with a smile that never seemed to dim, I didn't question anything. I stepped into the role of her father without hesitation. I held her at night. I rocked her to sleep. I whispered promises she'd never remember, but I meant with every piece of me. I thought our life was solid. I thought I was building a family. Then the truth slipped out in the ugliest way imaginable. It happened quietly at first. Little inconsistencies. A picture from years ago where Emily was with a man I didn't recognize. Too close, too familiar. A comment from one of her old friends. It's crazy how life works out after everything. A timeline that didn't match what she told me. I pushed it aside. But one evening, after Lily had gone to sleep, I asked her about the man. Not accusingly, just curious. The kind of question a husband should be able to ask without fear. Emily froze. Then she sat down. And in the calmest, most frighteningly casual voice I had ever heard from her, she said, "He's Lily's biological father. But it happened before you, so it doesn't count as cheating." I felt the world tilt. My ears rang. I couldn't even form words for a moment. Before me, I whispered, "Emily, we were together then. We were already dating. You were living with me." She shrugged, like we were talking about forgetting to do laundry. "It was complicated," she said. "We weren't official yet. And honestly, I didn't say anything because I didn't want drama. You stepped in, and it worked out. Why ruin it?" I stared at her. Really stared. And for the first time, I wasn't looking at the woman I'd loved. I was looking at a stranger who had rewritten an entire timeline of our relationship just to keep her own conscience clean. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. Something inside me just went still. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and slipped off my wedding ring. I placed it gently on the dresser. Not angrily, not dramatically, just honestly. When I came back, Emily was still sitting there like nothing was wrong. "Where are you going?" she asked, annoyed more than afraid. "I'm choosing honesty," I said quietly. "Something you should have done a long time ago." She laughed, like it was ridiculous. "Come on, you're really leaving over something that happened before you? Don't be dramatic." I didn't answer. I walked out of our home with only my car keys and the clothes I had on. That night, she called nonstop, texted paragraphs, then insults, then apologies, then guilt trips, then silence. 3 days later, I got a call telling me her grandmother, who raised Emily like a mother, had passed away. The burial was scheduled for the weekend. I debated going, not for Emily, but for the woman who had always been kind to me. The woman who once told me I was the best thing in Emily's life. I went, and that's when everything changed. The cemetery was cold and quiet. People whispered condolences, hugged Emily, avoided me. I kept my distance, hands in my pockets, eyes on the ground. I felt out of place, like a ghost haunting a life I no longer belonged to. Then, in the middle of the service, a man walked up the path toward the gathering. Tall, well-dressed, nervous but determined. Every head turned. Emily's face went white. He didn't look at her. He looked straight at Lily in her grandmother's sister's arms. And then he whispered the words that made the whole world stop. "I'm here for my daughter." When the man said those words, "I'm here for my daughter," the entire burial fell into a stunned silence. Even the priest paused mid-prayer. Emily's relatives turned toward him with the same mix of confusion and dawning horror that I felt twisting in my stomach. Emily reacted first. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. Stepping forward. "You can't just show up. This is a funeral." He ignored her. His eyes stayed locked on Lily, softening with something painfully familiar. Something I had felt every time I held her. Love. He took a slow breath. "I didn't come to cause problems. I came because I didn't know she existed until last week." Whispers rippled through the crowd. Emily stiffened like she'd been hit. "That's not true," she snapped. "We talked about everything years ago." "No," he cut her off, voice steady but shaking at the edges. "You told me not to contact you after we ended things. And I respected that. But if I had known you were pregnant." He swallowed hard. "I would have been here. I would have been in her life." Emily's aunt, one of the women who always adored Lily, shifted uncomfortably. staring at him like seeing a ghost. "Emily," she said quietly, "is this true?" Emily's face twisted. Not with guilt, no. With rage. With fear of losing control. She grabbed Lily from her relative and held her close, almost too tight. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "He's lying. He's jealous. He's trying to ruin things." "Ruin what?" the man asked softly. "The lie you built." I should have walked away. Truly, I should have. But I stayed frozen, listening, watching, feeling the truth crystallize with painful clarity. The man pulled a folded paper from his coat. A letter. "This was sent to me anonymously," he said, offering it to Emily's aunt. "It said Lily might be mine." I didn't believe it. Not at first. But then I saw a photo. He reached into his pocket again and held out his phone to the group. A picture of Lily. Smiling. Happy. Innocent. And undeniably similar to him. The same eyes. The same slight dimple on the left cheek. Emily lunged, trying to snatch the phone, but her aunt grabbed her arm. "Enough," she said sharply. It was the first time I'd ever heard her raise her voice. The spell broke. People started murmuring, throwing glances at Emily. Angry, betrayed, disappointed. The exact looks I had spent days trying to forget. Emily finally cracked. "It doesn't matter," she screamed, startling even the priest. "He wasn't there. You were. You raised her. You." And then she made the worst mistake she could have made. She looked at me. "You're her father," she said, voice trembling. "You always will be." Something cold settled in my chest. I shook my head gently. "I was her father," I said, "until you took that from me." Her eyes widened, her face going pale. "You can't just walk away from her." "I didn't walk away from her," I said. "I walked away from you." The biological father looked at me with an expression I can only describe as grief mixed with gratitude. "I'm not here to replace you," he said quietly. "If she's mine, I just want to know her. I want to do right by her." Emily started sobbing so loudly it broke whatever respect was left in the room. Even her cousins stepped back from her, shaking their heads. The aunt holding the letter looked between us. "Emily, you should have told the truth. This isn't just about relationships. This is about a child's life." The man took a deep breath. "I'll get a DNA test. I'll go through the courts if I have to. I'm not here to fight you in front of your family. But I am here for her." For the first time since learning the truth, I didn't feel anger. Just exhaustion. And clarity. This wasn't my battle anymore. I stepped closer, not to Emily, but to the man. "She's a wonderful little girl," I said. My voice shook, but I didn't look away. "She deserves someone who knows they're her father. Someone who doesn't lie to protect their own image." He nodded. "Thank you for being there when I wasn't." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Take care of her." Emily reached for my arm, desperate. "Don't do this. Don't leave. Don't give up on us." On me. I looked at her one last time. "We ended the moment you decided truth didn't matter," I said. Then I turned and walked away from the cemetery, leaving Emily with her lies. The man with new truth, and Lily with the possibility of a future built on honesty, not deception. I didn't look back. Not even once. Update that I didn't expect to hear anything from Emily after the burial. Part of me assumed she'd disappear into whatever world she'd built out of lies and half-truths. But 2 days later, just as I sat down with a cup of coffee in my new temporary apartment, my phone started vibrating nonstop. Calls, texts, voicemails. At first from numbers I recognized. Emily, her sister, her mother. Then from unknown numbers, probably relatives trying to hear my side. I ignored all of it. I had nothing left to say. But one message made me pause. It was from the biological father, whose name I learned was Daniel. "We're doing the DNA test tomorrow. I thought you should know. I'm sorry if contacting you is unwelcome. I just want to keep this clean." It wasn't unwelcome, just strange, painful, necessary. I replied with a simple, "Thank you. Let me know the result." That night, Emily left me 10 voicemails, each one worse than the last. The first 3 were tearful apologies. The next 4 were angry outbursts. The last 3 were hollow, almost mechanical, like she'd been coached. I didn't respond. I didn't sleep either. The following morning, I woke to an email, not from Emily, not from Daniel, but from her aunt. The same aunt who held the letter at the burial. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't dramatic. It was polite, short, direct. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I didn't know. None of us did. If you ever want to have a relationship with Lily, as someone she knows and trusts, you would be welcome. but I understand if that's not something you can do right now. I read that email 4 times. Maybe 5. I didn't answer. Instead, I went for a long walk. Just me, the wind, and too many thoughts. I realized something on that walk. I had been living in reaction mode for months, maybe years, reacting to Emily's moods, her half-truths, her shifting stories, her defensiveness anytime I asked about the past. I remembered moments I brushed off at the time. The way she never framed our wedding photo. The way she flinched when someone said Lily had my smile. The night she cried for hours after a dream she refused to describe. The way she insisted we never test Lily's ancestry DNA for fun, even though she'd done hers. All the red flags I folded into neat squares and tucked away because I loved her. Maybe because I wanted the family more than I wanted the truth. When I got home, I finally listened to one voicemail. Just one. The most recent. Her voice was hoarse, broken. I need you. Please. He doesn't know anything about her. You're the one who knows her bedtime, what she eats, what she's scared of. She calls you dad. Don't let one stupid mistake erase all of that. I didn't want to lose you. I just wanted to keep my past separate. Please. I'll do anything. It hit me hard. Harder than I was prepared for. Because she was right about one thing. I knew Lily better than anyone. I had been there for every milestone, every laugh, every sickness, every scraped knee. And walking away didn't make that disappear. But then I replayed Emily's words from the night everything fell apart. It happened before you, so it doesn't count as cheating. She had looked me in the eyes while saying it, like it was supposed to reassure me, like my pain was an irrational overreaction. And I realized something deeper, darker. Emily didn't just lie about Lily's father. Emily lied about what loyalty even was. 3 days later, Daniel texted me again. Test came back. 99.9%. She's mine. I just wanted you to hear it from me. No shock. No anger. Just stillness inside me, like everything finally snapped into place. He sent another message. I know this changes everything for you, but if you ever want to stay in Lily's life in some way, I would support that. I won't push you out. You were there when she came into this world. I didn't respond for a long time. Maybe an hour. Maybe 30. Time felt fluid. Eventually, I typed. Thank you. I need time. That was all. Emily didn't take the news well. That night she showed up at the apartment building, banging on the entrance door, crying so loudly the security guard called the police to calm her down. I didn't go down. I watched through the hallway window as 2 officers gently escorted her away while she kept screaming my name. The next morning, there were more messages. Texts from her mother. Please talk to her. She's not well. Texts from her friends. You blindsided her. At least hear her out. Texts from Emily herself. You promised you'd never leave us. She needs you. I need you. Please. But the hardest one was this. A photo of Lily holding the stuffed fox I gave her last Christmas, and a message under it. She asked where you went. I put my phone face down on the table and just sat there, breathing, shaking, because part of me wanted to run back. Not to Emily, but to Lily. Part of me wanted to lie to myself again just to keep her smiling. But another part, older, wounded, tired, knew the truth. The only thing worse than leaving now would be going back into a lie. I stayed where I was and waited for the storm that I knew was still coming. Final update. 3 weeks passed before anything resembling normal returned to my life. Even normal is the wrong word. It was quiet. Too quiet. I'd gotten used to a home filled with a toddler's half-words, soft humming, the occasional meltdown over the wrong color cup. Now the fridge hummed louder than anything else. Emily stopped showing up at my building after the police warned her. Her messages slowed too. Eventually, they changed tone, from frantic to resigned, from blaming to apologizing in soft, vague ways that never acknowledged the real wound. But the silence didn't solve anything. It just gave me space to feel everything I'd been avoiding. 2 things happened around the same time, and both changed the trajectory of what came next. The first was an email from Daniel. He didn't text this time. He wrote a long, careful message. I could tell he had drafted it several times. We start custody mediation next month. I'm not shutting Emily out, but I'm asking for primary custody. Her mental state worries me. I know this is complicated for you. That's why I want to be clear. I would welcome you in her life if you choose that. Not as a parent, unless you want that role someday, but as someone she knows and is comfortable with. You don't owe me anything, but Lily knows you. I won't erase that. I stared at the screen for a long time. He wasn't trying to replace me. He wasn't trying to win. He wasn't trying to erase me to soothe his ego. He was trying to build something stable for a child who didn't ask for any of this. The second thing that happened was a letter. Yes, a real paper envelope, slipped under the door of my apartment. The handwriting was unmistakably Emily's. Inside was a short letter. No theatrics, no manipulation. Just painfully honest. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to lose you. I know that sounds selfish and small, and it is. I was ashamed of who I was before you. I didn't want that version of me connected to the life we built together. I never cheated on you. I swear that. But I did betray you. In a way that doesn't matter when it happened, because it still broke us. I'm getting help. Therapy. My mother is staying with me. I'm sorry for what you had to carry. You deserved someone who trusted you enough to give you the truth from the start. There was no request to come back. No plea. Just acknowledgement. For the first time since everything collapsed, I felt like I could breathe. The mediation happened a week later. Daniel invited me, not legally, just personally, for moral support. I didn't go. That wasn't my place anymore. But I appreciated the gesture in a way I can't fully describe. 2 weeks after that, I got a text from him. Joint custody, but I'll have primary. She agreed. She's calmer now. And would you like to see her? No pressure. I stared at that message for an hour. Maybe more. I walked around the apartment. Saturday. Stood. Opened the window. Closed it. This wasn't a simple yes or no. It wasn't a movie ending where I walk into the sunset with a child in my arms and wounds magically heal. I thought about the pain of being a father to someone who biologically wasn't mine. I thought about the nights I spent holding her when she cried. I thought about the mornings she ran down the hallway screaming dada. I thought about the possibility of doing all that again, without the illusion, without the lie. I also thought about the fear of one day being told I didn't belong in her life. Eventually, I replied, yes, I'd like to see her. We scheduled a short visit at a park. Neutral ground. When I arrived, my hands were shaking. Daniel was already there, pushing Lily on a small swing. She spotted me before he did. Her eyes widened. She pointed. Dada. My chest tightened. Not with pain, with something gentler. Sadder, but real. Daniel stepped aside without a word. I took the swing. She kicked her legs happily, babbling nonsense at me like nothing had changed. Because for her, nothing had. She didn't know about DNA. She didn't know about betrayal. She didn't know about the scorched remains of a marriage built on unsaid truths. She just knew I had pushed her on swings before, and that I was pushing her again. Daniel watched from a bench. Not possessive, not wary, just respectful. When the visit ended, I hugged her gently. She clung to my shirt for a moment. Then she let go. Kids do that. They let go when they feel safe. And as painful as it was, it meant she felt safe with him too. After we parted, Daniel said quietly, you can be in her life as much or as little as you choose. I mean that. I nodded. Thank you. Driving home, I finally understood something I'd been resisting for weeks. There is no version of this where I come out unbroken, but there is a version where I come out honest, where I stop being someone who shrinks himself to fit into someone else's lie. The future won't be perfect. I won't always know my place. I won't always get a say. I won't always feel like I'm enough. But I'll keep seeing her. Not every day, not every week, but enough that she remembers I didn't vanish when things fell apart. As for Emily, she sent one final message a month later. Thank you for loving her. I'm sorry you had to let go the way you did. I didn't reply. Some things don't need answers. Some endings aren't victories. They're just quiet truths you learn to live with. And living with them is the only way forward.